vitamin D in sunset are absorbed in the small intestines. And without nitro or nitric oxide, and basically without nitrates, this wouldn't happen. So, in their brilliance, Kiani, about 8 years ago, designed a series of products, Sunrise and Sunset, and coupled them to a nitro product. The nitro product comes from the noni plant, which contains nitrates that are converted into nitric oxide. But in their brilliance, the formulation of Sunrise also included something that you all know about, the powder from green vegetables, which also contain nitrates. So as a result, the talk 20 minutes yesterday is converted into a minute and a half now to tell you why you should take nitro along with the other two products. The Triangle is a great supplement to everything that Dr. Andreas talked about earlier today. Eat well, but take your supplements.
Fantastic. I think what you just said and what was really important is that it is crucial to take all three products in the Triangle of Health, because that's where you're going to get the ultimate benefit, correct? If you could speak a little bit about the overall benefit.
Yes, I want you to take a good look at me. When you get to be about 72, as I was when I came into this company, I was reasonably healthy. But right now, both of my shoulders are mine that God gave me. I have 2 normal knees. My prostate gland has never grown to be big. These are the kind of things that sometimes occur to people who age. I can't tell this is going to benefit you, but in my case, the consumption of the Triangle of Health over the last 8 years has allowed me to look like I am today.
I think Dr. Burke looks pretty good. You look pretty darn good.
Thanks, Jody.
You're welcome. Thank you. Dr. Francomano, I'm excited to talk to you a little bit about this really important topic, because there's been some new, increasing research being done on tocotrienol and their effects on preventing abnormal tissue and cell growth. Can you speak into a little bit about what this research is showing us?
Thanks, Jody. So, the first thing I have to say is that the most important thing for all of us to remember is when we're talking about these products, we can never say that we are preventing, curing, or treating disease. This is really important from a compliance point of view. However, the Food and Drug Administration has given us some very specific language that we're allowed to use on this specific topic. And I spoke with Josh Chandler about this morning, and he gave me the exact words, so I'm going to share them with you. We are allowed to say that some scientific evidence suggests that consumption of antioxidant vitamins may reduce the risk of certain forms of cancer. However, the FDA has determined that this evidence is limited and not conclusive. So that's okay. So let's talk about some of this evidence. There are studies that really support there are 4 proposed mechanisms of action by which the tocotrienols actually can help in cancer prevention. And the first of these is that the tocotrienols actually trigger something that we call apoptosis. Apoptosis is a mechanism of what we call programmed cell death. Basically, the instructions go to the cell, it's time to die. And it's very specific for tumor cells. And if the tumor cells die off, then you're never going to get establishment. The tumor will never establish a foothold in the body and grow to do damage. The second mechanism is that the tocotrienols actually prevent the growth of new blood vessels into a tumor. And therefore, if there's no blood vessels going into the tumor, There are no nutrients, no oxygen going to feed the tumor cells, and the tumor is unable to grow. A third mechanism. Tocotrienols in some studies have been shown to combat what we call the cancer stem cells. Now, you know, stem cells are the primary cells that establish a tissue. And if it's a cancer stem cell, it's going to establish a cancer or a tumor. And those stem cells are profoundly resistant to chemotherapy in some places, in some cases, and they are the cells that are responsible for metastases. So there have been a number of studies in mice showing that the tocotrienols in reasonable doses can actually combat these cancer stem cells. This is amazing science, it really is, and it's very, very powerful information. Finally, there's an enzyme called HMG-CoA reductase. And this is the enzyme that's actually inhibited by the statin drugs. But in the context of cancer, it can actually inhibit cancer cell growth. And there's good evidence that tocotrienols inhibit this enzyme, HMG-CoA reductase, and thereby inhibit the cancer cell growth by limiting the effect of this enzyme. So there you have it. 4 mechanisms. The FDA says the data are not conclusive, but there is some evidence supporting that each 4 of them can help us in preventing cancer.
That's powerful. It's exciting to see the research. We've also heard a lot of research over the years with nitric oxide and the benefits of having a vascular dilator and potential benefits for a healthy heart. But has there been some research done in tocotrienols and its potential benefits as well in that arena?
Right, so it won't surprise you that we also have some guidance from the FDA on this, and I'll read you that one too. Now, this actually is not specific to the tocotrienols, but this is what we can say. Supportive but not conclusive research shows that consumption of EPA and DHA omega-3 fatty acids may reduce the risk of coronary heart disease. So we have that, which can help us in thinking about sunset. I'm going to tell you some very strong evidence for tocotrienols in cardiovascular disease and stroke. And I mentioned the HMG-CoA reductase earlier in regards to limiting the growth of cancer cells. Now, you all know that statin drugs are one of the most prescribed medications in the United States today, right? And you know the side effects that are associated with statin drugs. Many people experience terrible muscle pain and are unable to tolerate them. But tocotrienols limit the effect of the HMG-CoA reductase enzyme and thereby can decrease our cholesterol and improve our lipid profiles. Tocotrienols also reduce the levels of a molecule called homocysteine. And homocysteine is really an important molecule in causing heart disease. It's a very, very powerful inflammatory molecule. And the inflammation in the blood vessels sets us up for heart disease and stroke. So by limiting the levels of homocysteine, we limit our risk of heart disease and stroke. There's a third mechanism that's involved in cardiovascular disease, and this is really a very, very cool thing. Tocotrienols protect our tissues against damage from oxygen loss, or what we call ischemia. So when animal models are treated with tocotrienols and then they're subjected to ischemia, you tie off the coronary artery or you tie off the carotid artery so the there's not enough blood heading to the heart or the brain, you see much less tissue damage as a result of that ischemia in the animals who are treated with the tocotrienols. So it's a protective effect for the end organ, protective effect for the heart, protective effect for the brain. If there is ischemia that takes place, the damage will be reduced. So there you have it, 3 mechanisms protecting the heart and the brain against cardiovascular disease as a result of your tocotrienols.
I think listening to that powerful research kind of goes back to what Dr. Andreas said earlier when he was saying, I don't know how the product will do in your body, how your body will react with our products, but try it for 30 or 60 days and we'll talk about it. I was listening. I was paying attention.
Keep it simple.
Let's keep it simple. So let's talk about simplicity as well. Can you share, we talked a lot today about the Tribe of Health and really the importance of that in your presentation, but can you speak a little bit more into the importance of an overall healthy nutrition plan and why that's important when if you're taking the Triangle of Health, so you're not eating at McDonald's and then taking the Triangle of Health?
Exactly. You want to pay close attention to what you're actually promoting the bioavailability and absorptive properties of. Is it processed junk food and chemicals your bodies have no idea what to do with? Or do you want it actually to have healthy fuel and nutrition that your body can actually assimilate and use? Now, before I kind of go more into that, I do want to let Dr. Burke know he is my secret man crush. That when I grow up one day, that I hope to be able to claim and state exactly what he did earlier. Much love, my friend. So, yeah, absolutely. You know, when you look at the key elements of nutrition, I mean, it's just so much common sense, but yet no one is actually really looking there. Everyone's looking for the miracle product, potion, supplement, prescription to overcome and undo every bad habit that has gotten you there in the first place.
That's right.
So it's to me, it's just foundational. You can't out-work out, you can't out-supplement a poor diet. Period. End of story. So you need the way that I look at the human body, and I think one of the most amazing things I think as doctors that we all can attest to is that going to school and studying and learning medicine, for me it was a fascination, and it began when I broke my leg as a soccer player in high school, when I actually started to see how my body could heal on its own. A leg that was completely fractured, both bones, tibia, fibula, and in over 6 months I could run again. And to watch how the calcium can rebuild itself and ossify and to harden and come back stronger than it was before I even broke it was amazing. And it's amazing what the body can do when you give it the foundational nutrition and micronutrients and vitamins and minerals that it needs to function on a daily basis. And you know, the one thing I didn't say in my talk earlier that I want to really make sure I hit home is that if you are struggling with your health in some way, shape, form, or another, don't lose hope. I've seen miracles in my practice for those who maintain hope. Because it starts here. It's above, down, inside out.
Yes, sir.
It's not outside in.
Nope.
That's right.
And so when you look at what we provide and what these supplements can do, they provide the foundational elements, but be careful of what you're magnifying. Because the nitro extreme and the benefits of nitro oxide, it will magnify. It will improve the absorptive ability of nutrients. It's just what nutrients do you want to magnify?
Good point. So not a big myth. You gave a great tip yesterday. We were talking of just something simple that someone could start when they go home to maybe do one small change to look at trying to have a healthier nutrition plan. And I think you were talking about the grocery store.
I was talking about the grocery store. I mean, really, you know, I learned this from my grandfather who lost weight. I shared with him earlier, or I didn't talk about him, but it was my healthy oppa. And I had an unhealthy oppa. And my healthy oppa retired to the coast of Spain. I was born in Germany, and we used to go to Europe every summer as a child. I was grateful for those opportunities. But he lived on the Mediterranean coast. You could see the Mediterranean Sea at a multi-tiered garden that would rival any Whole Foods in America. And that's all he ate. And so when I look at that, it's just look at what God intended you to eat. And I live by one simple philosophy: eat to live, don't live to eat. And ask yourself, am I eating right now to live, or am I living to eat? And a lot of times we do emotional eating, and it gets you in trouble. And look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend my diet's perfect. I prescribe, and you will see, and throughout our journey together, that I will provide a lifestyle that's balanced. I don't believe in extremes. I don't believe in eliminating food groups. Carbohydrates are not the enemy. I got down to 4% body fat, eating 40% carbs. Period. They're not the enemy. Nor is ketogenic the magic solution. Okay? If you want to do those things, that's fine, and I'll talk how to go around them. But if you want to start something that's really simple, just avoid the aisles in the grocery store. There's nothing but garbage in the aisles. The only thing I pretty much buy in the aisles is maybe water and some salsa. That's maybe about it. But everything else is around the perimeter of the store, right? Your vegetables, your fruit, okay? The things that you need, the meat, the proteins, the sources. That's where the body is designed. That's what it's designed to function on. So take a little mantra and then just ask yourself. Look, I have even put it up on my fridge in the past. Eat to live. Am I eating to live, or am I living to eat? And then if that answer is no, if you walk away from an emotional moment where, like, I just need to eat this, just walk away, drink a glass of water, go do something else, and forget about it. And if you just do that, you will be amazed at what can happen with your body and how you will feel and the benefits you will get from eating these products.
Thank you so much. We're so glad to have you as part of our Scientific Advisory Board. Great addition. Dr. Haley, how are you?
Good, thank you. I love this information. This is wonderful. We were talking yesterday. If there is a food that you're even contemplating about eating and your grandfather would not identify it as a food, don't eat it. So your body's wasting so much energy breaking down those chemicals just to absorb what little nutrition is there. So real food is so essential in your overall health plan. And it's going to help your body as well as your skin, but we'll get into the skincare.
Let's get into the skin. So we have this great question that has come up, and so I thought this is a great opportunity to talk about this. If someone has very sensitive skin, or they've never used a complete skincare line before, how would you ease them into a product line like Fluoresce?
So this is a very common issue for people, and a study out of Stanford back in 2010 showed that 1/3 of people will have some sort of reaction to skincare during their lifetime. So very, very common, and there's even more products, more preservatives, more fragrances, more of everything on the market now, more exposure to things, so we're seeing more and more reactions every day. So it is very normal to have a certain amount of people have sensitive skin and have reactions to things. So the first step is just letting them know they're not alone. There is hope. We can get them to use the skincare, and they just have to be a little bit more careful about how to use it. I myself have been using skincare for many, many years, and I can pretty much put anything on my skin and tolerate it now. There was a period of time of probably 2 or 3 years where I had constant peeling of my skin, and I was just determined to get through it, and very confused skin, but now it's pretty stable. But for somebody with sensitive skin, you really want to ease them into a skincare. So there's really a few ways you can go about doing this. Number one, less is more. So you're not going to want to use a lot of product on the face. Less is more. So 1 pump of the serum, 1 pump of the cream, 1 little pearl-sized amount, pea-sized amount is sufficient. Eye cream, 1/2 a pump, 1/3 of a pump. And you want to apply it in a distribution on lateral parts of the face. What I typically see is I see people take a large amount, more is better, not always the case, more is not better, more is more irritating, not more effective. And they'll put it on from the center of their face and distribute it out. So they're not getting a lot of application virally, they're getting it sitting in the folds of their skin. They're getting it sit in areas where it's going to cool, especially overnight when you're sleeping, in the folds of the neck, and it's going to cause irritation. Any active ingredient in high concentration is going to cause irritation. So we have to trust the science and the fact that the way the skin products work is through cell-to-cell communication at a cellular level. So we want to see exfoliation. We don't want to see redness and irritation. So to avoid that, less is more. So number one, use less. Number two, ease into it. So if someone really wants to start right away, they say, maybe I'm a little bit worried, have them start 3 times a week with an eye cream, you know, and less frequently than twice a day with everything. But if someone's really sensitive, the way that I would go about doing it would be just starting one product at a time, because if they're going to have a reaction, you can really identify which product they're having a problem with. So I typically will recommend the cleanser as the first product to start with. Now the cleanser has the sugar maple extract, which has alpha hydroxy acids in it. So you're going to get some exfoliation, but it also has a lot of emollients in it. So it's going to be hydrating as well. And teaching them, telling them how to carefully and properly to use the cleanser is important. So they want to use it to cleanse their skin, and then take a fresh washcloth to like exfoliate and remove, gently massage the skin, stimulate blood supply to the area. And stimulating blood supply to the area is going to help absorb the active ingredients and ensure it's completely removed along with the dead skin cells before progressing with their day. So I would start with a cleanser for 2 weeks, no reaction, add our hero product, the serum, with the growth factors. They're going to get a nice immediate effect of the glow on their cheekbones with that. They're going to really like that. You're going to want to do that for 2 weeks. So add in the serum twice a day for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, no issues, go ahead and add the day cream in. You're always going to want to use a sunscreen with the day cream, otherwise it's going to mitigate the benefits that they're getting from the brightening and lightening effects of the day cream. And after 2 weeks, no problems, then add in the night cream. So that's the way that I would do it if someone has sensitive skin. The other thing that you can do if someone's really, really hesitant, they've had a lot of bad experiences with skincare in the past, is do patch testing. And the way to do patch testing is you choose a little area, and I'll often even circle it with a Sharpie or a pen, on the inside of their upper arm, the area where the skin's thin, the area where the skin's really thin, I cut out, sorry. And you'll want to put the product in that area. Let it sit for 72 hours. Or, I mean, if they don't shower for 12 hours, that's fine. And then do nothing to that area. Check it in 72 hours or have them check it. If they have no reaction, they have no allergy to it. So that's not going to be a problem for them. And do that subsequently with each product. And then you know that you're safe in knowing that they don't have an allergy to it. So, complicated answer because it is a complicated thing, but the one thing about skincare is that 85% of women, 63% of men use skincare. It should be your skincare. You're looking for an overall healthy approach for your customers. So, it should be you providing them that information and the resources and a little bit of hand-holding in the beginning. And once you build that foundation, it's a lifetime relationship. A lot of work at first, but a lifetime relationship. And everyone should be able to use skincare.
Thank you. Awesome. Appreciate that. It's great advice. Absolutely great advice. Well, let's talk a little bit about if someone does have a reaction to skincare, what they might see, and what is a natural occurrence in that adjustment period compared to an allergic reaction. Could you maybe explain what that difference might look like and feel like?
Sure, there's so much I want to say. Okay, so everyone's skin is going to have different needs depending on their background, the seasons where they live. There's a lot of variation, and someone who's savvy and has used skincare for a long period of time will know how to adjust their regimen. I was speaking with a couple people from Turkey earlier who obviously have a lot of experience in skincare, and they understand how to modify regimens. So, you will gain this experience, you'll gain this knowledge and the confidence in giving people information. But when we see a reaction, basically a normal response that we want to see, because this is an active line, this is a results-driven line, this isn't an inert product that is going to cause no reaction, no benefits. We are going to see benefits, so the more benefits you see, the more likely you are going to see a reaction if you jump in a little bit too heavy. So what we want to see is we want to see a little bit of exfoliation, maybe a little bit of redness. You can back off a day or two if you start seeing redness if it's uncomfortable. If it's not uncomfortable, I say drive through, get those dead skin cells off as quickly as possible, generate new skin from the deep layers to come up, right? That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get away with, get rid of the old, get the new up and coming, because as we get older, we know that things slow down. blood supply to the skin isn't as good. We're not getting those internal nutrients to the skin as well. So we need to feed it from the outside in, right? So we expect to see some sort of exfoliation. A little bit of exfoliation is normal. But what's not normal is if you're seeing a lot of redness, a lot of blisters, pain, don't want to see that, and severe peeling, okay? So typically what I'll see is if someone's overusing the product, I'll see a lot of redness in creases, in folds where the product is just sitting. And at that point, I want to determine, and you should want to determine, if someone is having an allergic reaction or an irritant reaction. So there's two basic reactions you'll see in the skin: allergy, irritation. Allergy is like poison ivy, you know, and allergy to nickel, an allergy to something, the immune response to something that the body does not like, it recognizes it as being foreign. So an allergy is basically the best symptom somebody will have will be itching. So if someone is experiencing itching, they jumped in, they're using all of the products, you don't know what the cause is, do a little patch testing to the inner part of their arm that we talked about earlier. Apply the product, 72 hours later, see if there is a reaction. They could be allergic to one of those things. The other products are fine for them to use if they have no reactions to them. Don't disqualify the entire line just if somebody has a reaction to one of the many botanicals in the line. Anytime something's natural, you can have a reaction to it, like poison ivy. Versus an irritant reaction, which is much more common. Irritant reactions are just people being overzealous. They see these amazing results. They see the studies 12 weeks out. They want those results now. They want them in a week. So what they're doing is they're applying way too much, probably too frequently, especially if they're new to skincare and their skin needs time to acclimate. So I back off, skip a day or two, 3 times a week, especially with the eye cream. That skin's real thin. The retinol palmitate in the eye cream, the vitamin A turns skin cells over. When skin cells are getting turned over very frequently, that looks like redness and peeling. So by backing off to 3 times a week, you're going to get the results. The results will be the same at 6 months as if you did it every day versus 3 times a week, but then slowly graduate to it. So 3 times a week for 2 weeks, no problems. Every other day, no problems. 5 times a week, and slowly graduate. Lots of hand holding, but once they're on the regimen, loyal for life. So that's basically how I differentiate. Allergy, they're not going to be able to use that product, but allergies are very rare. Irritation is much more common. Let me just check really quick, make sure I didn't miss anything. And then, you know, like, you know, with the skincare products, the alpha hydroxy acid and the vitamin C in the day and night cream have a lot of exfoliative properties. That's what gives them their benefits. So if someone jumps in really intense with that, that's where we're going to see most of the problems. That's why I usually recommend starting with the cleanser, then going into serum.